G'day, it's Robbie again. Well, that last video I did was, it was pretty traumatic. I mean, it took me a day or two and a few beers to get over that one. Selling off stuff from the workshop, you know, it's like getting rid of an old dog, you know, you just don't do those things unless you're really forced into situations. But, well, as I said, it's essential, you know, you have to have a clear out so that, you know, you can get rid of that stuff and make room for more stuff. Otherwise, well, what's the point of having a workshop, you know? But then I was thinking afterwards, you know, sitting down, having a beer and sort of, you know, thinking about workshop life, thinking, you know, a lot of serious workshop owners we're all in a sort of self-denial, really. And you think, well, you know, what self-denial, you know, what about? Well, power tools, you know, when you think about it, when you really sit down and think about it and add up how many power tools you've actually got in the shed, it's pretty scary. I mean, I got to admit, it is pretty damn scary. And I mean, you know, self-denial was sort of a thing where anybody that's a power tool junkie is someone that's got more power tools than you've got. Doesn't matter how many you've got, but they've got more, so you know, they're junkies. And you're okay, you know, no problem. But then you sort of think to yourself, well, gee, I can't really get much more in this cupboard, you know. And it's not like those useless cooking appliances that people sort of, you know, accumulate, that you use once and then never use again. I mean, the power tools are essential because, you know, you just might need it one day, you know, like, you know, you just got to have that backup. And if one backup's worrying, well, you get two or three, you know. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So anyway, we'll go through and look at what makes a power tool junkie. This was man's idea of a drill. That's what you had in the old days. The old hand crank drill. And really, when you think about it, the first power tools that were widely used in the shed were electric drills. And, you know, these old drills, they had special qualities. Main one being that they would break more drills than holes you actually drilled with them. So, you know, you could pretty much guarantee that they would cost you a small fortune in drills because, yeah, they were pretty awful things to use. So then along came the first electric drills. And this was, in its day, quite something. I mean, to have an electric drill was like, well, it was almost like having a car. I mean, it was expensive, big money. And these old drills were built to last, and this was my father's. And that's where you start off, you see. You start off, your parents are responsible, really, when you look at it, because they give you all this stuff when they pass on. And so, you know, you're not to blame. It's just probably a DNA thing, inherited, and yeah, so you start off with your first drill, your father's drills, and of course they get worried about you using their power tools, so eventually you do buy your own first drill. So you add that to the pile. This was my first drill. Still use it, still goes. And you know, that way your parents, your father can feel confident that you're not going to burn out his good drills. Expensive drills, and by now, of course, you can see these are cheaper. We've now hit the 70s, or was it the 60s? I think it was the 60s, and power tools were cheap. But then your parents pass on and you inherit all their stuff. So we add the wolf drill to the pile. And if your father happens to like wolf drills, well, you add the other one as well. These were a wolf drill with a 2-speed gearbox, and they were ergonomically designed, like a lot of drills in the old days, to have lots of power, in fact so much power and such fantastic ergonomics that they were almost guaranteed to break your wrist when they jammed. The ergonomics were absolutely terrible, but that's what you got. So you used all those drills for a number of years, and they did the job. And then one day you went somewhere. In my case, it was a farm fair, and you got your first really decent drill. And it was expensive, but it was a good quality one. In this case, it's an AEG. It's an AEG SBE 500R. And to this very day, out of all my electric drills, power tools, this is my favourite by far drill. It's ergonomically brilliant. It's got everything you want, hammer action and forward reverse. It's done thousands of hours of work really. It's still going strong. My favourite drill. And then of course you go to those dens of sin, those stores, you know, big stores with those great racks full of new power tools, and you know, it's terrible really getting through there without buying something, and one day you will succumb, I can guarantee it. And so you do, you succumb and you get something that's on special and it looks pretty good. So you add a Makita to the pile, a nice Makita. Yeah, good drill. It was out for half price. So I had to have it, of course, and that is the second best drill I've got. That's a good one, I like using that. But it's heavier than the AEG. You know, AEG is nice and light, yet it's still powerful. And then down the track, you know, one of your relatives dies, an uncle, and so, you know, everybody gets a little bit of something, and so you get another drill, you get his drill, which is an old Black & Decker. But it's a nice little drill, it's a handy small one. You can get into tight spots with it, you know. A lot of drills like this are too big, too heavy, cumbersome. So a little drill is always a handy drill. So that goes on the pile. And then another day you're at a garage sale and you see a drill so cheap you just can't pass it up. In this case, it's an Atlas Copco. Very, very expensive. Got all the bells and whistles, mechanical gearbox, and you get that for $12. And, well, yeah, you just got to do it. I mean, how can you pass up something like that? So that goes on the pile. And at the same sale, you see another drill. In this case, it's a rotary hammer drill, which of course you haven't got one of those. I mean, you know, you've got to have one of those. $12. So as well, the two of these for $24. So that goes on the pile as well. So you can see this is getting pretty serious. We're just looking at power tools and electric drills. And already, I mean, I think that there are some signs of possible addiction there. Yeah, it's not looking good. And of course, you've got to have a cordless drill, you know, just to sort of, well, get into those spots, you know, where there's no electricity, where it's too hard to drag a cord round. And there you have it. I mean, you know, the average guy's electric drill supplier's bow, you know, I mean, looks pretty normal to me. But yeah, that's just the drills, you know, and then you got other stuff, you know, power planers and belts, sanders and chainsaws and generators and, you know, all the usual stuff that you like to have around, you know, just in case. But yeah, I do think with the drill side, it could be a bit of an addiction here. Yeah, I think there's a problem. So I've promised myself never to buy any more electric drills, well, unless they're really, really cheap. And I mean, I'll have to think about that. And the sad part is that there's no cure, no known cure. As prices drop and quality gets better, the problem's just going to get worse. So, I mean, I blame the manufacturers, and you know, I don't think really, you know, we as users have got any control over this. It's something that's just going to get worse and worse. All right, well, that's it from me. I hope there's a lesson there to be learned, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Cheers.